Everyone raising their hand before the meeting starts are going to see their hands lowered back down because the meeting has not started. Thank you.
Okay, let's get started. So firstly, welcome everyone to the Street Life Committee meeting of Community Board 8 on this Tuesday, July 11th, 6:30 p.m. My name is Abraham Salcido. I chair this committee. A few rules of the road. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the agenda and invite each applicant or their representative to state their name and give us a little bit of background about their application. In the background for our, to expedite things, please let us know, again, the type of application, if the establishment is ADA compliant, if you've had any 311 complaints, if you're an existing establishment, and whether you have any outdoor space, including any sidewalk sheds or roadway sheds. After each applicant has spoken, I will then inquire whether there are any members of the public who have questions or comments on that particular application. Following that, I will invite questions or comments from my fellow committee members. There's a reminder that any action taken here to approve, disapprove, or otherwise an application will then be forwarded on and voted at the full board meeting. It's Wednesday, July 19th. Additional instructions is please direct all comments to me as the chair. That goes for applicants and members of the public. I'd like to avoid any crosstalk. As another gentle reminder, of course, everyone here is here to share their opinion or express their views, questions, or comments. Please, however, let's remember that we should operate with decorum and treat everyone respectfully. If anyone is unable to do so, they will be muted and will no longer be able to participate. Okay, lastly, for the applicants, a reminder that after the full board meeting on the 19th, please remember to remove your posting, the flyering that was required as part of the appearing before this committee. So please remember to do so after the full board meeting on the 19th. We will have another reminder at that time, but just vocalizing that now. And then lastly, I will hand over to Robert for any of the technical rules of the road before we get started.
Sure, thank you, Abraham. Welcome. If this is your first time joining us virtually, you will notice that you're currently muted and everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except the committee chair, Abraham, and any presenters as we move through the agenda. Following the presentations, the chair, Abraham, will call members of the public wishing to speak. You can participate by going to the reactions icon on your device and pressing the raise hand feature, not the wave or the thumbs up. Those are only temporary and will disappear. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you're calling in on the phone, it is *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. Please be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once Abraham calls on you. The chat is for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask questions of Abraham or the presenters. They will not see these chats. If you are using an older version of Zoom, you'll need to go to the participants section where you'll find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to see you. Chat me, I'm here for support. Abraham, back to you.
Okay, great. We're going to get started. Sid, can I ask what your question is? We're about to
Yes. Yes, sorry. I wanted to just find out if the Cafe Bon Gusto case is being laid over for a future meeting, or is it going to be discussed in tonight's meeting? I know there are a few people from our building who are interested in this issue, and if it is being laid over, we will not take any screen space.
Okay, yes, that is actually listed as the layovers, and it will not be addressed here as we do not have the applicant. So we'll invite the applicant again at the next meeting. So you're welcome to stay if you wanted to make any comments at any other business, or you're welcome to join us at the following month.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Okay, great. Now let's start with item 1A. Do I have the representative for Rowan?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, how are you? My name is Jaslyn Carr. I'm an attorney, and I'm here today to represent Suzuki Yan, who is the applicant for Rowan, New York, Inc.
Wonderful, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Now-
Okay, please go proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. My client's actually on as well. If you could just wave. There we
Okay.
go. That's her and her husband. Thank you. So my client's requesting a full liquor license for Ron, New York, Inc., located at 207 East 59th Street, New York, 10022. My client wants her customers to have a fine dining experience in a Korean restaurant with a tasting menu, very specific menu, and that is fixed. This location is a commercial building with 2 floors, a basement and first floor, which the applicant, Ron, New York, Inc., is the sole occupant. My client proposes the hours of operation to be Tuesday through Saturday from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. The restaurant will be closed on Sundays and Mondays. There will be only background music. There is no dancing, no promotion, nothing. It's just a private, just background music. And it'll be at a light sound. There will be 2 tables with 6 seats total and 1 counter, which is a chef's table with 14 seats. So you're looking at 20 seats for total for customers. Additionally, with the maximum occupancy for this location is 32 people. There will only be indoor seating and no outdoor seating at all for this location. My client wants to create an intimate fine dining experience for her clients. She wants to create an ambience where her clients will always remember the location, remember the food, and what a great time they had. Additionally, I'd like to let you know that this restaurant is ADA compliant and will not be doing deliveries. The prior owner to this location was called Asian 59 Inc. My client is fully aware of all the 311 complaints. There were 8 sanitary 311 complaints. Specifically, we researched it. We went over it with our client. We advised our clients that 3 complaints were due to bare hands being in contact with food. 1 was due to food protection, food poisoning, odor, rodents, insects, garbage, and 1 was due to sewage. So my clients will be participating in optimum hygiene practices that it will be because it will be a fine dining restaurant and she wants to have that reputation. As to the garbage issues, my client will be hiring a private waste management company to pick up their garbage. So she's getting ahead of the problem. She understands that this was an issue for the prior owner. So she's taking that in mind and she's going to hire a private company. Additionally, we do anticipate that the trash being generated is going to be at a minimum due to the occupancy of only 32 people. My client's very excited to start this endeavor and provide fine dining experience to her customers. She will take all steps necessary to ensure in compliance and will monitor the operations of the business closely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jesseline. Thank you for that very thorough review. We appreciate that. And I would invite the following applicants to touch on all of the items that Jesseline touched on. So with that, I will first go and inquire if there's any members of the public with any questions or comments on this application. Okay, seeing none, then I will go to my fellow committee members. Marco.
Thank you. I mean, so far I found that this is a very small place, almost a takeout. 32 people. This is relatively very small. My question is, My concern is, are you willing to put an stipulation what you just said and that you describe, one, and two, yes, you claim that is ADA compliance. The only way to say that is you file in the Department of Buildings, because DOV, they will check that part if really, really you are in compliance, because it's easier to say it is in compliance. One, another thing is DOV sometimes they don't pay much attention to the entrance, and the entrance always there is one step. And this step is, we're talking about 6 or 7 inches high. For a person with disability is a challenge. So usually it's required to have a ramp. But the best way and the best practice, what we should do is, and that is for Abraham, I think all the applicants should present a picture of the entrance, because that would tell you exactly if it's actually is in compliance or not. However, if they didn't file in DOV, they can have a provisional ramp, which is acceptable by the America with Disability Act. So that will be my recommendations in that part. I don't know if you have a step to coming in, a step before to come into the venue or not. But it's hard to say right now unless you describe if you have a step or not. This is for the attorney.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your questions. As to the ADA compliant, we have no problem confirming and getting certification. That's something we don't mind putting in a stipulation. Everything that I actually did talk about my client, we are willing to put in stipulation, as my client's fully aware of this, fully has agreed to this. So we have no problem doing that. Now, if we did submit photos of the entrance, there looks like there's a one step. And if that's something that needs to be addressed in order to be ADA compliant, my client's willing to work with ADA to get complied. And if that means the entrance has to be fixed, that's something they will look into.
Let me clarify. Let me help you. You know, as long as you put a provisional ramp, if you put as a stipulation, that will be fine. Because since I think we have to be fair, this is a very small place. And you didn't file probably in DOV. That is the only institution that can certify that is compliance or not. But if you put in the stipulation that you're going to put this provisional ramp, so that means when any customer require, you can put in to provide the service, and that will be fine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We have no problem with that at all. The goal is that everyone gets to experience the fine dining that this Korean restaurant has to offer. And that's really what they want to do. It's intimate, it's small. They want everyone to experience it.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And just so, since we are going to put these, I just want to make sure that I captured everything that you had said at the outset. You had addressed the trash to make sure that it was going to be there'd be no trash complaints, correct?
Yes.
And then also in terms of food handling, was that another one that you had mentioned, correct?
So what I said is that there were 311 complaints on sanitary based with Asian 59 Inc.
Okay.
Obviously, that was the previous restaurant owner, but my client has looked into those, saw everything. They're willing to, the main issue that we saw was the trash, which trash, you know, reflects rodents, insects, garbage. So that's why they're hiring a private company to handle that right away. So we have no problem putting in the stipulation that my client will hire a private company a waste management company to take out the trash. And that way, kind of, we're getting ahead of the problem, knowing that that was the complaint.
And then the ADA compliance with the ramp and or filing.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Next, I have Cause.
Yeah, you said that there was one owner, is that correct?
Yes, there's one owner.
And will there be any sidewalk or street structures?
Nothing. It is just an indoor dining. Specifically, it's just indoor where there are going to be 32 maximum people. As I mentioned earlier, there's going to be only seating for 20 people. So it is extremely small experience because you're trying to create this fine dining where it can't be produced in bulk. So there's absolutely nothing outside that they're gonna need.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next I'll go to Barbara.
I would like to move to approve this application.
Great. I see Marco seconding. Okay, great. Would anyone like to call the question? Marco would like to call the question, I see. Is anyone opposed? Is anyone opposed to calling the question? Okay. All right, seeing none, then this will go down as a motion to approve with the stipulations that we discussed. So we will go to the roll. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining on this application, please give me an indicator. Otherwise, your vote will go down as a yes. Again, voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining. Otherwise, this is a yes vote. Okay, seeing none, this will go down as a 10-0 approval. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming before us, and good luck on the new endeavor.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Great. Have a good
And
evening.
then, Abraham, for the record, can we just list the role of the
Yes,
board
I have.
members?
Absolutely. I have myself, Barbara, Bill, Cause, Evan, Casey, Lindsay, Marco, Mrs. Brown, and Robin. That's 10 by my count. Any other additions?
Not that I have. I just wanted to put it into
The record. Yep, absolutely. No problem. Thank you very much. Okay, good. So with that, I will move on to the next item. Do I have the representative or applicant for item 1B? This is Sun Palace 82. Sun Palace 82.
Abraham, the Sun Palace 82 was laid over. It should,
Okay.
as of late this afternoon.
Okay. Well, apologies for that. Thank you very much. In that case, do I have the 1B Singh Brothers UES?
Give
Singh
me
Brothers?
one. Yep. Abraham, I see someone waving. I'm going to go ahead and unmute them.
Okay, yes, here for the Singh brothers.
Hi, welcome. Thank you. State your name and tell us a little bit about the application.
My name is Manpreet Singh. So we're applying for Innis Cafe. It's located on 74th Street between First and York Avenue. We've been here. The previous owners have had this place for about 6 years. I'm not changing anything about it. I'm just going to leave it. I want to leave it for the community as it is. Basically, the purpose of the application is just to get everything transferred under my name based on the existing concept. We always just offered wine, a few beers, and a cider or so. But the focus of the cafe is obviously just selling espresso drinks, and we have light breakfast food and some pastries, which is the main source of our revenue and what's where our sales are mostly coming from. I basically took over everything as it was. We're compliant with the ABA. We aren't doing any deliveries. I'm using the same sanitation company they used, and same bookkeepers, same suppliers. Everything's just the same. I just took over an existing ownership.
Okay, well, thank you very much for clarifying that. So first, I'll inquire if there's any members of the public on this application. Okay, seeing none, I will go to Marco first.
Thank you, Abraham. I would like to put a motion. The motion is to approve as presented. Is anybody can second, and then I would like to speak.
Lindsay's seconding, so please go ahead.
Okay, so the question is, as I did before, I think this is a coffee place. I mean, I understand very well. But we don't have nothing almost against this venue. I think it's very reasonable. And the only question is, as I asked the previous applicant, do you have a step that to have access to your venue? Because you can resolve putting with this provisional ramp. And the point is, we try to make as much as possible handicap accessible to those people.
Absolutely. We don't have a step right now. I actually had a couple people in the wheelchair come twice, 2 or 3 times. It's just a little ledge that, like a little, for the construction to coming from the outside to the inside, but it is on the same level as the sidewalk. So we're in compliant with that. And, we've had customers in the wheelchair in here.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Brown?
Thank you, Chair. I'm a little confused. Is it ADA compliant? Marco said there's a little step.
Yeah.
You're seeing that wheelchairs are able to access it without any issue. I need clarity on that or a stipulation to that effect. Has there been any 311 complaints? If so, have they been cured? Is there any outside area, outside eating, etc.? These things weren't covered by the applicant. So
Okay, I'll cover that. So first, the applicant did say that there was no outdoor space. That was also on the application. Marco was inquiring whether there was a step. He was not saying that there was one. The applicant then responded that there was not, that there was a little lip, if we call it, which still provided access for ADA to remain within ADA compliance. On the 311 question, I'll let the applicant speak to that.
So as of I taken over, there was no 301 complaints. Anything they did have with some neighbors, I know was resolved well before I came. I mean, it's been in existence for about 6 years, so we haven't had any complaints in the last few years from what I've learned from them. And checking online, I didn't see any either.
Thank you very much.
then I would call the question, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown.
You're welcome.
Okay. Cause, did you have something before I go to the call? No, okay. We have the question called. Does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay, seeing none, then this will go as a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. Otherwise, you will go down as a yes vote. Again, voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, seeing none. Well, thank you, Mr. Singh. Appreciate you being here before us, and continued good luck with a very appreciated establishment in our community.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Good evening. Bye. Okay, next item on the agenda. Do I have the representative for Lizette NYC, Lizette Turkish Restaurant? Yes, I see Jason.
Yes, hi, hello.
Hi there.
Hi, so we are opening this new location on Lexington Avenue at 791 Lexington Avenue. It's going to be a fine and Turkish restaurant. Mostly we would have about 49 or so people occupying the tables. And we're mostly focused on food. So our goal is to provide mostly food and a fine experience for our customers. So we would be providing about 90% food. And for those people that, want to drink and with their meals, it'll be about like 10%. Our main focus is on food, not drinks, but we want to comply with those people that, want to drink and not miss those customers.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Couple of questions. Is the venue ADA compliant? Are you going to do deliveries, and are there any outdoor spaces that you plan to use?
So right now, we are ADA compliant. We do not have any complaints.
Okay.
And outdoor seating, we do not have any outdoor seating, but I know in the application we did mention that if the New York City outdoor program still allows to do that in the future, we do look into signing up for the outdoor seating for our space.
Okay, great. And deliveries?
No deliveries, no.
Great, thank you very much. So first I will go to members of the public for any questions or comments. Okay, seeing none, I welcome committee members. Marco?
Yeah, I would like to put a motion to approve as it's presented, and then I would like to ask to make a statement. Is
Okay.
anybody can second?
Yes, Barbara seconds.
Okay, so
So-
the question is, how many people you are planning to have in your store? I think you said 49. I'm right or wrong?
Yes, about 49 or so, but we have an occupancy of 74 people, but we're trying to expand, have more space for our customers, so we're planning on having 49 chairs.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, of course.
Okay, great. Mrs. Brown?
Call the question, please.
Great, thank you. Anyone opposed calling the question? Okay, if not, then this will go as a motion to approve as presented. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please let me know. Voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, this will go as a motion to approve. Thank you very much, John, and good luck on the new venture.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item. This is 1D as in David. Do I have the representative for the Franklin Hotel, 164 East 87th?
Yes, hi.
Hello,
How are you?
very well. How are you?
Good. I am the liquor license consultant representing the applicant. I also have the general manager on the phone. I can't tell if she's been unmuted to answer
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Great, welcome.
Okay, so I am, as I said, the liquor license consultant representing 164 Franklin Hotel LLC, an interstate management company, LLC, DBA, the Franklin Hotel. The applicant is applying for a tavern license serving beer, wine, and cider. And the property is located at 164 East 87th Street. Did I get that right? Yes.
Yes.
The hours of operation for the food and beverage service are going to be 6 to 9 a.m. and then 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Located in the tavern, premise area, there will be 10 tables with 20 seats at the tables and 8 seats at the bar area. There will also be an outdoor terrace with an occupancy of about 25 people. There will only be background music at a moderate level. And because this is a tavern license, there will be a food preparation area that serves sandwiches, salads, soups, and a variety of other appetizers. There will be no delivery service. And I will let continue.
Just a little background of the hotel. It's on 87th between 3rd Avenue and Lexington Avenue. Our predominant clientele is actually families of people that live in the neighborhood. So we get a lot of repeat guests. And ultimately, we're just trying to provide an experience where, somebody's coming in and they're going to meet their kids for dinner, but they want to grab a glass of wine and have a bite to eat before they head out. We don't envision it to be a very high volume establishment. We just want to make sure that we can kind of deliver on the amenities of the brand and have a premium experience for our guests.
Great, thank you very much for that. Just a couple of follow-ups. So I don't know if you touched on the ADA compliance piece and whether there's any existing 311 complaints.
There are no 311. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
There are no currently any 311 complaints. We are ADA compliant. We do have a portable ADA lift that we have in order to access the lobby so that anyone can get in. But we have not had any issues.
And can you clarify the deck outdoor piece that was mentioned?
So it's an outdoor patio. 75% of it is covered with a glass roller cover enclosure. So there's just kind of like a small patio with about 20 seats there in the interior, and then 4 tables with 4 seats each on the exterior part that's open. It's surrounded by a community office space and then 2 luxury apartment buildings, but we're set above us.
Okay, so that's all within the establishment, not facing the sidewalk, correct?
Correct. It's not
Okay.
on the street. Yeah,
Right.
it's all
Okay.
kind of enclosed.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so first I will go inquire if there's any members of the public on this application. Members of the public. Seeing none. Yes, I have Andrew Fine.
Just sounds like a good plan, so I would approve of that. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Fine. Okay, there's no other members of the public. I will go to my committee members, and I have Barbara first on my list.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve, but if seconded, I do have a question. That's the right procedure, right?
Yep. You
I've
can
only
speak.
been on the board for about 15 years. I should know it.
I'm happy to second, and Bill, I think, also seconded.
Great.
So speak to
Quick
it.
question. I know that, so the outdoor dining will not be too late and too noisy and disturbing the residents around it? I didn't hear what the hours were for the outdoor.
The requested hours were until 9:30. I heard, yes, that's what I have listed. So I would assume the outdoor would also go no later than that.
Okay.
Is it correct?
To be honest with you, we have 2 guest rooms that are adjacent to the patio. So we would probably shut down any of those seating areas closer to 9 and only serve at the bar, which is completely enclosed.
Okay.
Because it would be disruptive to our own business and counterintuitive.
Great.
Okay.
Been a wonderful neighbor. I live on the block and we've been a very quiet neighbor.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next, I'll go to Marco.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Well, I just checked in the Department of Buildings web, and they filed an application on, let me give you the date, 12/8/2020. And they are saying the following, that's the scope of work. New footing for new deck as shown in drawings. So the deck that's outside, it has been disapproved by the Department of Buildings. You don't have no CO, by the way.
The deck should be approved. There is a CO. It's because of the way that the lot is broken down. So we actually have a ground lease from the building that's next to us. And so we're kind of included in their lot. So the CO lives in a different place. I'm happy to provide it though, if it's needed.
Yes, if you can provide that, that would be very helpful.
Sure.
So she's saying that apparently is one zoning lot with the adjacent property with the new building.
No, it's not that. It's the luxury condominium that is next to our building owns the land for our building. And for some reason, the CO lives under there. But again, I do have a
So
copy of
basically
it,
you
so
have-
we can.
Yeah. So basically you are saying that there's one zoning lot. That means, I'm sorry to speak
It's
very
not
technical.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not
sorry,
the same
there's-
lot. It's just where it lives in the DOB site happens to be under a different tab for some reason. It's been an issue.
I'm sorry, let me correct. I'm still saying that what I'm saying is the correct way to express. When you combine one lot in order to transfer the air rights, then the big building or the big lot, they can have the CO, your CO over there. So any modifications in that certificate of occupancy, it has to go through the zoning lot. That means they had to review the luxury building as well as your building, because they merge forever. And when it merged forever, that means it's fine, but you cannot increase no more floor area. And any additions or any modifications has to analyze with the luxury building and with your building. And in the way that I'm seeing, the application was filed in 2020, apparently, or the applicant, the professional, he didn't understand that is one zoning lot That means that at the time when you file for something, it has to be reviewed, the luxury building and your building, to see if you have floor area available. If you don't have floor area available, this is what probably there was denied. And that was on 12/8/2020. And the luxury building, if I'm not wrong, I think is more than 20 years or 16 years old, that building, or something like that. I know very well that
It depends which building, because we're a bunch up against two. There was an older liquor license that was submitted in 2020. That was going to be a full
No,
license.
no.
That's not the same one that we had submitted. It is a separate lot, like on the DOB site, and I'm just referencing where the CO lives. The CO is completely separate and identified as the hotel, completely separate from the luxury building. It's the Allen building that is the landowner. Again, we're happy to provide, obviously, after this call, any documents that shows that the decking was approved by DOB and all the permits were completed as needed, and then I can send the certificate of occupancy as well. Because the hotel's actually been an establishment since 1930s.
So you're saying that you have a CO would describe that you had the right to use the outdoor. Is that what you're saying? Regardless, whatever it is, the location of the CO. But you are saying that you have the CO that allows you to operate lawfully on that place.
I would have to pull the requested documents. I'm only the general manager of the hotel. I would have to get involved with hotel ownership, who's the one that filed all the permits and has been dealing with the landlord of the land. But again, I'm confident that everything is in compliance, and then I can provide those documents, tomorrow, the next day.
Well, my position will be in this case, I'm going to abstain. I'm going to review this application, and if whatever she said is correct, I will change my vote for yes and the full board. But meanwhile, I'm going to abstain because we don't know if it is in the CO. You're right. Probably the CO is within the luxury building because it's one zoning lot, and in that building it has to probably must have the description of what you are saying, the outdoor space. And if it's that the case, I do not have a problem to change my vote for yes. But meanwhile,
yeah, because the outdoor
abstain.
space always existed. It was just used in a different way, right? So it was always part of the lot. It was always part of the space. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the law better. So I'm happy to defer until we can pull the appropriate documents for you 100%. But ours was only filed this year. Yeah.
The only thing I'm going to say is that you file an application that made me have some doubts. One, two, the issue is if you, at the time when you merge with to the luxury building, at that time, probably the luxury building pull out your air rights. And that means your floor area that you are planning, they're using. However, if the CO on the luxury building said that your facility have that exteriors, yes, that you can have it, and that's no problem. But if it doesn't describe in the CO, that I'm going to find out after the meeting, and then I will tell you that I will support or not. But meanwhile, I'm going to abstain this application. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So for this one, if there is a motion, it'll be, I would like to just include the stipulation that you will forward us the C of O that will kind of verify whether or not the outdoor usage is in compliance.
Yeah, just to be clear, the CO is specific to the hotel, not the luxury building. It's just on the DOB now site. I pull it from the other lot. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Mrs. Brown?
Thank you. Thank you for adding that stipulation. I was going to suggest that. So I'd like to call the question, please.
Okay. Barbara, do you have one last? No?
I was just going to I remember the building that's next door. We did hear it. It was just a parking lot. And then they came to us, if you remember, and there's still a parking garage, not a lot, a parking garage. And the building was building. So I thought before it was cold, I thought that maybe Marco that would jog a memory. And I also had a question. If you're just opening up a roof, are you adding to the FAR?
So you're right. It was a parking garage and the condominium building was only added in 2019. So the lot was technically just the parking garage. And it's not a rooftop deck. It's a lobby level deck that's 75% enclosed.
Oh, so it is increasing the size of the hotel, of the use of the land?
It's not increasing it, it's just repurposing it. We had
Okay,
that space
that's
to
my
begin
question
with.
then.
It was an alley that they used for storage and we built a deck instead.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so does anyone oppose calling the question? This is an approval with the stipulation for the C of O. Seeing no hands, okay, then I'll do the vote. So this is a cause.
I was putting my hand up for when you call the vote on an no abstention or.
Okay, so this is a motion to approve. If you're voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, let me know. Cause, are you voting no or abstaining? Or
I'm
not
going to
voting?
vote no. I'm going to vote no or abstain on this until we have proof of the C of O and the lot and the enclosure and everything else.
Okay, thank you. Marco? You're abstaining?
Yes, I'm going to abstain, but I probably if you give me a couple of minutes, I will let you know exactly what's going on. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so any other no, not voting for cause or abstaining? Okay, seeing none, then this will go as an 8-1-1 approval. And thank you very much for your time. This will go to the full board meeting and then do send us the documentation that was discussed. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
evening. Okay, we're now on to category 2. Do I have the representative for 2A, Serafina to go 84th Street?
Yes, hello. I'm Kevin Delcasel, and also Brian Fink is available from Dano, which is our attorney.
Hi,
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Fink. I am the attorney representative. This is Serafina to go 84th Street LLC, and it's a class change. So currently it's a tavern wine, so beer, wine, and cider. And we're looking for tavern liquor, which is adding liquor. This is at 1492 3rd, so it's at the corner of 3rd and East 84th Street. Right now it's a Cafe Serafina. So for those who've been by or who've been inside, it's primarily ready to eat. So you've probably seen glass cases with prepared food, and that patrons can come in and purchase and then sit in there to eat. So that concept hasn't really been that embraced by the public. So we're looking to make this more of a modernized restaurant with table service. So rather than the focus on the ready to eat, it's going to be more freshly made in-house dishes, pastas, pizza, various other hot items, desserts. And the expanded menu also means the expanded beverage menu. So since the beginning, the beverages haven't been a big part of the operation. Right now, we're expecting up to 15%, I suppose, of the operation. But really, these are just an accompaniment to these more diverse foods. So as far as the operation goes, there are 42 seats inside, 6 stools at the bar, and there are 10 seats outside. It's recorded music only, no live music, no DJs, nothing like that. The hours are staying the same. So the hours right now are noon to 10 p.m. every day. And as far as ADA compliance, it is ADA compliant. So we have, for example, minimum required clearance in the restroom, as well as the entranceway being double doors. And so in 311 complaints, no known 311 complaints for this establishment. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry, did you mention deliveries? Apologies if I misheard.
Oh, So no bicycle delivery, but a couple third-party delivery services.
All right, thank you very much. Okay,
You're welcome.
first I'm going to go to members of the public with questions or comments on this application. So first I see Andrew Fine, followed by Todd Schwartz.
Hi, thank you, Abraham. Honestly, I'm kind of speechless on this. Serafina came to the building, 171 East 84th Street. They came to the community board. They promised that they would have no cooking, just warming. They were going to close at 8 o'clock each night, not 10 o'clock. They were not going to seek a liquor license, and they weren't going to seek like any substantial outdoor space. I feel like this was just, they were just trying to get their foot in the door. It's a bait and switch. They were in business for 3 months, and during those 3 months, they were packed like every single day. And I don't know what kind of like scheme they're trying to pull here, but the bottom line is that we made several agreements with these people, and in 3 months they switched everything. So this is a bait and switch. I'm sorry, I'm not really happy with this, but I don't understand what happened. But I open this to question on the community board, like, why did 3 months prove to be the undoing of this business model that appeared to be successful? And why, when they made all of these promises to the building and the community board, suddenly, due to consumer demand, all of a sudden, they want everything that they promised they didn't want in the initial instance. So thank you, and I look forward to your answers to these questions.
Thank you, Andrew. Brian, do
Yeah,
you want
yeah,
to
sure.
respond? Sure.
Yep, yeah, sure. So Andrew, so a few points. So as far as the cooking itself goes, so my understanding is there's not going to be like a grill, for example. There will be an oven, for example, to heat food, but no grill. So I'm not sure if that speaks to your understanding of sort of the cooking restrictions or what you discussed, but the cooking, while there will be an expanded menu, it will still be minimal. As far as the hours go, again, my understanding is that it's has been 12 to 10, and it will remain that. And that again, there have been no violations reported from the operation as it's already been. And if there were, we would obviously address those. And I can assure you there's no bait and switch scheme here. I think if you do a little looking, for example, at some of the reviews from consumers, you'll see that there's online, that there is a desire for something different. And so it's just the kind of thing that, based on sort of, professional experience and, and based on the initial reviews, as well as consumer feedback, that this is what they're asking for.
Okay. Thank you very much. Andrew, I will come back to you on this. I want to get through everyone's first time around, and then I will come back to you. Okay, so with that, I have Todd Schwartz next.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Full disclosure, I am the board president of the building upstairs at Evans Tower. We welcome Serafina as a partner, but I do, of course, have some questions. You mentioned that there's going to be an oven. We have a setback terrace that belongs to one of the residents up there. Is there going to need to be ventilation for this oven? Assuming this goes forward, of course.
Sure. Kevin, I defer to you on this one.
Okay, so the oven will be with our existing ventilation. We are actually looking to increase the capacity, not the size of the hood, but to increase the capacity for it. But it will be a concealed oven, a UNOX oven. I also, if I may, I just wanted to mention, this wasn't only a switch we made for 84th Street. We currently have 4 Cafe Serafinas in existence and 4 that are being built. And we have decided to make that change for all of the Cafe Serafinas. So it wasn't only for 84th Street that was planned.
So if I'm the owner of the, and I'm not, of the setback terrace upstairs, I live on the 26th floor, are we going to be assured that they're not going to be smelling the pizza sauce or whatever coming up with this new higher capacity oven? Because the first guy to get the complaint is going to be me, and I'm not getting paid to get these complaints.
No, understood. We can present to you our precipitator that we are planning, which will reduce or eliminate any of the smoke or smell.
I mean, to be candid, as I said to, and I think it was to you in an email, this was all, I think just as a matter of being neighborly. Suddenly the signs, as Andrew pointed out, came up, the place was closed. As I said in an email, just a courtesy heads up to the building and to you, Brian, would have probably gone a long way that we're not even discussing this at a meeting, that we're working this out amongst ourselves in advance. A little communication, we probably wouldn't be here. You see where I'm coming from? I mean, suddenly I'm the board president and I got people saying, well, what's happening down there? And I'm like, I don't know. Nobody reached out to us, and you guys have all our emails. So aside from that, I hear that's going, there's a desire to have an outdoor cafe. If you can assure me there's going to be no noise from Mr. Apartment 3B, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the position to take these complaints. I'm happy to work with people, but we got to have more of a dialogue, and perhaps in advance. I can yield back to Andrew. I don't want to monopolize though.
Thank you very much, Todd. Brian, do you want to speak a little bit more on the cafe piece?
Yeah, anything in particular about the cafe piece?
Can you just, I guess further to Todd's question about, kind of anything to minimize noise, size, will the hours be the same for the cafe as well?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, again, okay. So there are no open doors here. There are no open windows. So, whatever noise, if it was, Andrew, I know mentioned before that there were times where there were quite a few people inside. So I'm not sure if it's going to, if those resulted in, a lot of noise, but there's not going to be any change with respect to, for example, opening doors or, bringing in, louder music or anything like that. The number of tables and seats is staying the same. The number of stools is staying the same. And the operation is largely staying the same, except there will be table service and there will be this expanded menu. So it's going to be people primarily, seated inside, eating, at a restaurant, primarily food. And again, beverages up to 15%, we're thinking. And then outside, the tables are going to be primarily in, just 2 per table. So it's going to be, very small groups of people outside that are using it. And so it's hard to imagine that there would be any sort of additional noise there. The outdoor cafe is going to be the same hours as the current hours, which is noon to 10 every day.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. One follow-up just to close. One of Todd's questions was and Kevin spoke to it, the ventilation. Can we add that as a stipulation in terms of what you're going to be doing with the ventilation to avoid any odors emanating to the apartments upstairs?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Then I will go to the next member of the public. I have a Maggie L.
Maggie on the phone, it's *9, *6 to unmute.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks. My my questions were a little bit similar. This application is to bump up to a liquor license. And I'm looking at the enclosed form application, and notwithstanding one of the presenters saying that it would be a minimal menu, he's also said it's going to be expanded menu. And I think he said there's no grill. On the form application, however, on question 12, it says extent of food service, full food menu, and it says full kitchen run by a chef or cook. And then the applicant, the restaurant, Serafina, has inserted restaurant, full kitchen, and full menu required. I just, as a member of the public, echoing a little bit of the two other comments, I'm a little bit confused on whether this is really a sit-down restaurant. You've marked here there's a sidewalk cafe on the form. Verbally, you've just said the tables only have 2 per table, but I don't know if there are 2 tables or if there are 10 tables. I'm thinking of liquor, versus beer and wine and cider. And so I'm confused. And when there's not 100% clarity on the description and there's an application for liquor, I'm feeling as a member of the public unsettled. So I wonder if you could speak to some of the confusion that I've just described between the printed and typed up application and some of the presenters, people who run the Serafina, what you've articulated verbally.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Maggie. I can answer that. Yeah. So, I'll try to be clear about it here. So, with respect to the seating, so the interior seating is not going to be changing as far as the numbers go. So there will be 42 seats at the tables, and then there will be 6 stools at the bar. The 2 seats refer specifically just to the outdoor area, where it's going to be 2 per table. Okay. And then in terms of the license itself, so right now it's a tavern wine license, which you may already know this, but it has certain legal minimums it has to meet for the food area. So it's still going to be a tavern license because it's not going to have a full kitchen, which is what a restaurant license would require. But there is going to be the use of an oven. So instead of it being primarily all ready to eat, being served from a case, there's going to be an expanded, albeit still limited, menu of more freshly prepared items, including some pastas, pizza, desserts. So does that clarify it for you at all?
Maggie, it's star 6 to unmute again, and star 9 to raise your hand.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It is what you had said before, so I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and cede my time back to Andrew, I think.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you,
now
Maggie.
circling back, Andrew, for comments following the responses.
Thank you, Abraham. I just want to say that I find it really odd that Serafina came to the community board and to the building and asked for various, approvals for warming food and low-key liquor and small hours. And literally, I think the shop was open for 4 months, which is probably the shortest successful run of a restaurant in the neighborhood in a long time. And we've had some really short run restaurants, and it seemed very, very popular. I don't understand how we're suddenly bumping up to a full or a larger liquor license based on what we've seen, because I feel like everything that we agreed to 4 or 5 months ago is suddenly out the window, and they're asking for much, much more on every level. I don't understand where the outdoor table service would actually take place, because I think that on the east of the restaurant, there is about 8 feet of space, including a couple of tree pits. So I don't know where the tables would actually go outdoors. And if they're looking to go on the south side of their space, that's actually in a publicly owned private space, which I think would probably require an entire different level of approval. And it's a space where the elderly and community representatives and friends sit on what they call the wall. In terms of cooking, I still don't understand the scheme. I'm not sure where this is gonna vent, but they're basically telling us that they're gonna cook, but they're not really gonna cook. And before they told us they weren't cooking, they were warming. So how do you run a restaurant without actually cooking? So I feel like this whole thing is really disingenuous. And, I feel like this was all predestined, and they had this plan from the beginning. And because nobody opens a cafe or an experimental cafe and it shuts down 3 to 4 months later, asks for a larger liquor license, more outdoor seating, and basically goes against everything they agreed to just months ago. So I would really invite the community board to scrutinize this application as much as they possibly can. And I thank you for the time to address this.
Thank you, Andrew.
If I may say, so as I mentioned, it wasn't only 84th Street that we closed. We closed 4 locations because we realized the concept was not working. But I kindly ask, if you're familiar with our Serafinas throughout the city, I mean, we're a family restaurant, and basically the alcohol is just an accommodation to the guest. But there are guests that, will not come if we don't have full liquor. And again, it's not for them to have more than one drink or 2 drinks. It's not like a nightclub or a bar or any parties. It's just more so as an accommodation.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. Bob, would you like to add anything further? Yes, okay. So
I just want to double clarify, how many cafe tables are there going to be? And are you anticipating them being on the east or the south side? I mean, I keep hearing about 2 tops, but how many tables?
So we were anticipating 4 2-tops, but just in front of the store. We realized nothing will be anywhere near the public plaza.
And you realize it's a very narrow corridor between, as Andrew points out, there's 3 or 4 tree pits there. I don't know, I haven't done the measurements, but it's going to be a very kind of congested area, I think.
Okay. I mean, if it creates an issue, we understand, and we will not push for it. And we can refrain from that if it will create an issue.
And I mean, I guess if there'd have to be some assurances that if this ventilation becomes a problem, it's going to be addressed. I don't know what kind of filings are going to be necessary. It's got to be that it's going to be far enough away. If there is exhaust, is it far enough away from the residential area, which is directly above you? I want to reiterate to everybody in the public on the community board that this is under a setback terrace that is owned by, it's 2 separate individual units in the building. So this restaurant is literally right under a setback terrace. So I don't know which way smoke goes. I don't cook pizza. I don't cook anything, but probably worth asking or understanding.
All right. Well, so the ventilation will be where it is right now. We're not changing any duct work or anything.
Which is where?
The way from how I recall is that it vents out onto 3rd Avenue.
Okay, but the 3rd Avenue would waft up. The front of the terrace is 3rd Avenue. It's exactly the point. I'm playing advocate for the person that lives there. I don't even know this person, but there's a railing right above you. You just got to look at it and see. So that's my concern. I can go back to Andrew. It looks like he's raising his hand.
So it's currently the same route that it has been, and I haven't heard, but have there been any issues with the ventilation when we were open?
Well, I think that it's a preemptive question, right? Because he's saying because the method of operation and the increase in cooking and an expanded menu, the concern is whether that will have increased issues with the ventilation. I think that's what Todd is alluding to.
Yeah. So we will have the precipitator to alleviate that.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to Andrew one last time before I move on to my committee members.
Thank you so much for indulging me in this argument. But to my knowledge, the ventilation for this restaurant is actually on the south side of the building. Top can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a large vent that is underneath apartment 3A, which is not the one with the terrace, but the one that is just to the west of the one with the terrace. And this would create a major issue if there is a substantial increase in exhaust and cooking. And prior to actual cooking, just warming going on, we were smelling the pizza smell around the building and several flights up, 6 flights up if you're me, or 7. But the apartments in the immediate area were definitely smelling the pizza. And the venting is a major consideration. But again, the step up in the liquor license, if they're a family restaurant that's closing early, I don't think you need to serve espresso martinis. Just saying it's pizza, it's pasta, and I'm not sure where the need for this increased liquor license. And again, it's all so precipitous because we were here just months ago. We worked with Serafina, and all of a sudden they're back with an additional ask on virtually every aspect of their application. Anyway, please scrutinize this, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, so that's it for the public for now. I will go to my committee members. I have Cause first on my list, followed by Marco, then Mrs. Brown.
Yeah, I think there's too many or too much unknown, too many facts that we've been told one way or another. I think I would like to lay this over until the next meeting, until we have all the facts from both sides, the building and the restaurant.
Okay. I guess I'll ask Brian and Kevin, is that something that would be amenable to you to have a further dialogue in terms of the exhaust and the ventilation? And any other questions that have been raised today, or would you prefer to continue?
Well, I would like to continue to hear other people's concerns before we do that, but I do think that Kevin and I should just connect quickly offline. I don't want to make that decision unilaterally.
Okay. Okay, so let's hold that for now. Let's hear from Marco and Mrs. Brown, and then we'll come back to Cause's point. Marco?
Thank you, Ibrahim. Look, we have to be fair, either for both the applicant and the residents. And the only way to be fair in both cases is the applicant must file an application in the Department of Buildings. The Department of Buildings is the institution to enforce all the laws. It means they will review the exhaust, they will review the hood. I hear also that there are some comments, even the pops. I don't know if it's included or not, but DOB will check all these items because this is a very technical issues. Myself, I understand very well right away, but this is not my role to enforce any law. The only institution to enforce the law is the Department of Buildings. Therefore, the applicant must file an application. If DOB accept everything, well, we have to accept whatever DOB said. Yes, you can have a ventilations at the 10 feet height, rather to have all the way to the roof. Yes, you can have, but you have to be in compliance with several issues. And then you have to have a different kind of equipment to resolve this issue. Otherwise, we're gonna keep asking, and the applicant, Brian, he tried to do his best, but the problem is he doesn't even understand the issues. And the issue is basically he must file an application to the Department of Buildings, and then the Department of Buildings will be the judge in this case. They will review all the exhaust, they will review all the pops, they will review everything. And then from there, we can hear what DOB is saying. If DOB said it's okay, well, most of the issue is out. But meanwhile, I mean, myself, I strongly recommend Brian. I strongly recommend the owner, or they should hold the application, file an application, and then see. Usually, it can be even professional certification in this case. This is not much. And then you can have at least something that you can protect yourself, because technically you cannot answer all these questions that has been raised, because this is a very technical part. And the only person that, or the institution that can help you in this matter is the Department of Buildings. And finally, look, we have to be right here is to follow the law. And if we follow the law is DOB. So file an application, then come back. I think this is the best way to deal in this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. I do want to say that we have filed with DOB. We have filed everything with them.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Brown.
Thank you, Chair. Since you already filed an application with DOB, Brian, what has been their response with regard to the ventilation? That's number one. Number two, I would like for you, Mr. Fink and Kevin, to provide Mr. Swartz, Tom, your personal phone number, since it appears to have been a communication problem regarding the emails. That way there's direct contact. Questions can be answered, if not follow up by email. But I feel that the president of the condo association there should be better communication. And based on that, or unless you have the results from the Department of Buildings regarding the ventilation, then we can move forward. If not, I would suggest that we lay it over until we have all of these things answered. Thank you, Abraham.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Brown. I'm happy to email Mr. Schwartz and Mr. Fine my contact information, and as well as for further discussion. It's something that we take very seriously in terms of responding immediately to concerns from community members. So I'm happy to do that. And then as far as the DOB, I'll let Kevin speak a little bit more on that.
Right. Well, in regards to the DOB, we do have all of the necessary permits. The ventilation application is being taken care of with our expediter, and once we get the approval on that, we can submit that to you as well.
Okay. We'll go to Barbara, then I'll come back to Marco.
I have certain questions I would like to ask. First of all, shouldn't our main issue whether they should get the liquor license? I'm uncomfortable about questioning their business model, whether I think it's a good idea that they have liquor or not. If they think liquor is something that their customers would serve, that's the one question. The second one, in terms of ventilation, I mean, we have a horrible place on 86. I know some people love it. What's the burger place called? The famous burger place that's on 86 between Lex. What?
Shake Shack?
Yes, the smell is absolutely awful. And we passed it. In fact, it was embraced and so on. This is just warming something up. I don't know why the ventilation would be anything more than everybody above them using their stoves to make dinner. They're not making whole meals, if I understand correctly. So I'm wondering if we're overanalyzing what this will be. I'm certainly would accept holding it over and more questions, but I'm not sure whether we're overanalyzing everything. There's still, I will say, I did go in there. It's a beautiful place, but I didn't stay for lunch because there was nothing I wanted. I'd probably stay for lunch for something, if it was something warmed up a little bit better than that. So those are my two comments.
Thank you, Barbara. Just quickly on the menu, they did provide it in the application, and it does include burgers, salmon, pastas, and pizzas. So it is definitely more robust.
Just warmed up, not made on the grill the way that Shake Shack is. Am I right?
Maybe Brian and then Kevin can elaborate that. So like the burgers, are they pre-made elsewhere and you just heat them up, or are they going to be like actually cooked on premises?
So the burgers and salmon will be cooked within the Unox oven.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Not on an open flame or anything.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Circling back to Marco, then Mrs. Brown.
Thank you. May I ask direct questions to Kevin? Abraham.
Yes, of course.
So you just said that you have an expedited to do the job. Is that correct? I hear that.
Oh,
that's what I hear.
Meaning the expediter that handles our DOB filings, correct? Yes.
Yeah, but look, first of all, that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable because the reputation of the expediter is questionable. But the you should hire is your professional, and the professionals who will guide you properly what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Because at this time, the DOB is very strict, and that there is no more communications with the plan examiner. There's usually with the new DOB now, which is everything is virtual. So that avoids any conflicts in the process or any questions in the process. And my advice is, I strongly recommend now that you should withdraw the application now, come back, but hire a professional. He will advise you properly. And when they advise you properly, then you can have all the paperwork. Otherwise, we're going to go back and forth. You will going to start fighting constantly with the president of the co-op. Why? Because he's going to complain anything. But if you have a proof from DOV, well, it will be very hard to make an issue against you. So I had to be fair with your business, but fair with the community too. So my advice: you should withdraw. That's my advice. But that's your choice. And then hire a professional, do the job, and then he will explain you what to do properly and follow this instruction. So you didn't file anything in DOV. So please, you should withdraw. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we do have an engineering firm, which is and we STE and C3D are our architects, and Cobra Kitchen for our kitchen exhaust.
Is this approved, this application? That's the question.
Oh, for the exhaust, it's in the process. being
No,
combined.
basically, we need to have approved, because once it's approved, there is no discussion anymore about the smell. I know this gonna have some issues because you have you cannot have on the roof your ventilation. Most likely you're gonna have the ventilation at a high of 30 or 10 feet high in front of your business, and there's exhaust directly to the street, which is allowed by code. But I cannot give you any advice right here. But the best that you can do is follow the professionals, file an application, approve the application, and then come back. Very simple. And then once it's DOB approved, believe me, I will strongly support your application, because I don't have nothing to discuss about ventilation or anything like that, because this is a legal document now. Thank you so much.
Okay, before I go to Mrs. Brown, I want to just, I guess, revisit that topic, Brian and Kevin. Is that
Yep.
something you guys want to have a minute offline to discuss if you want to lay over and once you have it approved, or do you want to continue to proceed?
Well, I just want to say about the DOB, Marco, first, I absolutely hear your concerns and understand them completely. The DOB filings can be very technical. And as Kevin mentioned, they work with an engineering firm and architects who are well aware of DOB's rules and the zoning code and municipal codes and regulations on those. So I just want to say, flat out, that's something that we take very seriously and have been for this whole time. Now, the DOB process is pretty different from the SLA process, as you know. Expediter is sort of a catch-all word, but these are professional people who are working on behalf of this. And who are working through the technicalities and understand things like, for example, how smoke travels, the strength of the oven, these sorts of things, and is presenting those to DOB. DOB's process has been severely delayed to the point where the SLA has put out an advisory allowing applicants to forego submitting certain DOB requirements, documents, because the DOB is so backed up. So waiting for the DOB approval.
May I interrupt? I'm sorry to interrupt. DOB has a program for small business, for restaurants, exclusively, because you're absolutely right. This is a backup of the application. You're right. But there is a special way that as a small business, they have an speeded process, and that you should use that one. And then because they know very well, this is your small business, and the city is concerned. They don't want to stop a small business to grow. And that's basically, I strongly recommend. I give you free advice. Follow this one, and then you can obtain the approval right away. Because they know very well that the 1 month you lose a lot of money. And that is what there is a special program. Look, I'm right here just only to guide you, to help you, both sides, to be fair. I don't want to support something that is unclear or obscure. It's no good for the community, it's no good for you. And so this is my advice. I'm sorry to interrupt what you're saying, but there is a program for a small business and you can approve quicker.
Thank you. And, that's something that the expediters would, hopefully understand and follow. Nonetheless, it's a high demand and quite a large burden on the DOB, who's already backed up on many other different kinds of projects. The SLA, as you know, is also extremely backlogged. The new chair Fan said, to our Senate last month, 4,200 applications backlogged. The SLA is taking up to a year right now to process applications like this very one. And so I just ask that you consider that, this is an extreme hardship already on businesses, not just Serafina, but across the entire state, and in particular the city. So we will certainly provide you with the DOB approvals on the ventilation when we get them, and we can include those in the stipulations as part of it. So I just urge you to consider that that there are these already very lengthy timelines among these different agencies that often don't communicate with each other and are working on very different kinds of things. But Marco and everyone else, we hear you absolutely, and we take this seriously.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will go to Mrs. Brown and then back to Cause.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to be perfectly clear. My mic was cut and I was not able to express this specific thought. We must make sure that the unit with the setback has recourse. No matter what the negotiations are, that has to be addressed. That unit has to be protected. So I'm asking that while you're waiting for the DOB to approve the ventilations, whatever unit you decide to purchase, have that unit with the setback involved. And if whatever unit that's been approved and it's still a problem for this particular unit with the setback, that be addressed, that be protected. So with that being said, I strongly recommend, Chair, that we lay this over to next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Okay, going back to Cause and then
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion that this be laid over.
Marco is seconding. Just correct me if I'm wrong, we would need the applicant to agree to want to be laid over, so we can make the motion. But if the applicant does not agree to withdraw the application, then we need to vote on it as presented, and we can vote to disapprove or however we like. So to lay it over, we would need the applicants to acquiesce.
Wait a minute. Why would we need the applicant to agree to a layover? They're not withdrawing it. We're running the show, aren't we? We're not subservient to them. I mean, we want to be fair to everybody. And at this stage, we don't know anything. And there are too many questions. So my motion is to lay.
Okay. Marco seconded. Okay. Does anyone object to laying it over?
Can I just say, we don't need to go through this. We'll agree to lay it over.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And personally, I would like Andrew and Todd, Mr. Fine and Mr. Schwartz to, I'd love to be able to connect with them as well.
Okay.
So,
wait a minute.
Yeah,
So in other words, we are not voting, you are withdrawing. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So then in the interim, we would encourage you to continue the dialogue with Mr. Fine and Mr. Schwartz on the concerns. And then if you are, the more information you're able to provide us, or if you have some kind of agreement in place with them, then we'll be in a better position to provide a favorable outcome for you.
The other thing, Abraham, we've heard so much tonight that the next meeting should not be as contentious or as time consuming.
Correct. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. So we will revisit this in August.
Okay. And I thank everyone for their comments.
Great. Thank you for working with us and working with the residents.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item. Do I have the representative for 2B, Sazak?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, so my name is Siam. We just moved from last year from 2nd Avenue, Zukeri Pomodori. We moved to First Avenue and we applied for the wine and beer license. And we just changing the class now. It's a small restaurant with 14 tables, no outside. We have delivery, but we don't do our own delivery. It's a third-party deliveries company. And we don't have any bar, it's just a service bar. As a customer asking for liquor, just a complimentary with the food. That's why we're asking for changing the class.
Okay, and just to confirm, you spoke on the deliveries, venues ADA compliant, and you've not had any 311 complaints since we last saw you?
No, not after I moved in.
Okay. All right, so I will inquire of members of the public on this application. Okay, seeing none, I will go to Marco, then Cos, and Mrs. Brown.
Thank you, Abraham. I would like to put a motion. The motion is to approve as presented. Is anybody can second?
Yep, we
Okay,
have
second. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Cos,
Yes, sorry. My usual question, is there any outdoor space on the street or the sidewalk?
No. We didn't have
And just a general question, how much sway do you have with third-party delivery? Or they tell you when you obey?
third-party deliveries?
Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat that question?
so
Yeah.
go ahead, Cos.
Yeah, go on, Abraham.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
sure.
we get this all the time, so.
Yeah, he was asking when you engage with third-party delivery, do you have any negotiation power to say that they must follow the rules, at anything like that?
Yes, we do have somewhat, not the whole. So
Okay.
we can tell them where to pick up, from where to pick up, and what time frame. And everything else is up to them. Like they have to follow all the rules, the third party, like Uber Eats and
Right.
Grab.
Okay. Cause follow-up?
Yeah, no, that's it. Thank you. I mean, that's a discussion for later on that we should take
Yeah.
up.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Brown?
Yes, I'd like to call the question, but with a comment.
Okay,
Chair, would you please remind the applicants when they present to be sure to state ADA compliance, 311 complaints, and if so, were they cured? The hours, any outdoor seating, etc. And that way, if it's in the presentation, it will save us a lot of time.
okay.
Thank you so
I
much.
do my best to remind them. Again, a lot of the hours are in the applications as well. But okay, thank you very much. The question is called. Does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay, seeing none, then I'll go to the vote of, this is a motion to approve as presented. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. Okay, seeing none, and this will go as a approval. I see Russell joined. Russell, you're partaking in the votes, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. That's going to go as an approval. Thank you very much and continued good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Likewise, thank you. Okay, item 2C. Do I have a representative for New Chinatown? 2C. Yes. Can we unmute Kim?
Kim, you should have gotten a prompt to unmute.
Okay, can anyone hear me right now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. I'm actually representing for 1650 3rd Avenue, New Chinatown. And we are a new restaurant. Because they used to have like an old owner, and then our owner, he bought this restaurant last year. And then we are 88 compliant, and we don't have any 311 complaint, and we do want to apply for our liquor license right now. And we have like all gender and wheelchair friendly bathroom, and then we welcome everyone, and then we actually, this restaurant, we could sit about, let's see, 40 people. And we are a local Chinese restaurant, and that's it. And we do have like a massive delivery takeout, and people love to order takeout from us because we have amazing Chinese food.
Great. Okay, I have your hours of operation 11 a.m. to midnight.
No, not midnight. 10:30.
10:30. Okay, even
Yeah,
better.
definitely not midnight. Too late. Yep,
Great.
too late.
And then lastly, do you have any outdoor space?
No, we don't have any outdoor sitting. No.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
First, I'll go to any members of the public with questions or comments. If not, then I will go to, oh, I see Andrew.
Sounds great.
Thank
Great.
you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so Marco, Bill, Mrs. Brown.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion and then to speak. The motion is to approve as presented.
Yes, you have seconds.
Yeah, the only question is, you're absolutely right. Everybody loves Chinese food and everybody
Thank
wants
you.
to have a delivery. The only
Thank
problem
you.
is the delivery. How you gonna do that? The delivery, because people
Yeah.
they are bicycle on the sidewalk. Do not complain the rules. How you gonna do that?
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Our delivery guy, they are very well behaved. They would not use their bicycle and block out the sidewalk. And then for our DoorDash or Uber driver, they're also, I'll always will remind them, please do not block the sidewalk because people are going to walk around. There's children, there's elderly, there's people in wheelchair. I always remind them because for that, it actually depends on the staff. We need to remind everyone, like, please be helpful. If you are helpful to us, we're gonna give you a thumbs up on your on your record for if you're Uber driver, we're gonna give you a thumbs up on Uber. If you work for DoorDash, we'll give you a very good feedback on DoorDash. So that's how we work with our neighborhood, and then the neighborhood work with us. That's our motto.
Thank you for your answer. The only thing I'm going to say is it's hard
Yes.
to blame you. I see many people on the biking on the sidewalk. I cannot blame you because I don't know. So
Yeah,
I
but they
think we
definitely
still
do not
have
work for us. Yes.
the community. I cannot blame you because I don't know. So the only thing I'm going to say is we had to figure out something to catch those people that behave unreasonable. And thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, no. We're not done yet. So thank you for that. Also, I just want to say I did very much like that response, and I appreciate the effort in working with the delivery drivers to remind them. That's always
Yeah,
appreciated.
because sometimes they're new to this country. They don't know about the rules in the neighborhood. So we have to remind them, hey, be mindful, be considerate of your neighbor. So they learn too. They learn from us. We learn from them. That's just how we deal with people and interact with people. Because sometimes I learn from them too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Great.
that's too nice now, right?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, a few more hands. I'm going to interrupt because I see that, I don't know if I overlooked or was a little bit late, but Kathleen Steed, a member of the public, has a question or a comment, and I'd like to.
Sure, go ahead.
I actually live within a block of you, and I know that Chinatown has been there forever. Obviously,
Thank you.
Are you a new Chinatown, meaning there are new owners from where they started, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago?
It is like a new owner because I think the old owner, they probably moved somewhere else. So we have a new owner, new management. Yeah, since like last December.
And
thank you. Please visit this restaurant. We would love to see you here.
Okay. All right. They don't have a problem with bicycles. I'm elderly and disabled, and I notice those things, so they're fine as far as bicycles go, unlike many other places in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
you
you
for that input. Okay, now I'll go back to committee members, Mrs. Brown, then Russell.
Yes, I'd like to call a question and a comment, please.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. You're my neighbor. I'm right next door to the Italian restaurant. And I'm from
Okay, hello,
Massachusetts.
neighbor.
Yes, I'm from Massachusetts and California, and I go to kosher Chinese restaurants.
Oh,
So
nice.
if you change your menu to kosher, I guarantee that people will be lined up down the street and around the corner to a
I will
kosher.
take that note. Thank you. I'll put
You're
that in
welcome.
consideration. Thank you
Surely.
so much.
You're welcome, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, Russell.
Thanks. I have a question that's related to what Kathleen was asking, because I'm familiar with the old Chinatown, and I guess I'm just wondering how much sort of like operational carryover is there, if any, and asking in part because that the food at Chinatown previously, the Chinese wasn't very good, and you also used to have sushi that was very good, and I know that they don't have sushi anymore. I don't know if you have plans to bring that back, but it was good.
Thank you. I mean, we don't want to do sushi anymore because the owner, he owns like 2 other sushi restaurants, one all the way in downtown, the other one in Midtown. So they want to do strictly Chinese food and with some Thai food too. So, but I mean, you should come over and give it a try. I mean, you might like it because we use fresh ingredient and then fresh sauce, and why not give it a shot? You might like it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I have, the question has been called. So if anyone opposes calling the question, let me know. Otherwise, we'll go to the roll. This is a motion to approve. So if anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. Otherwise, this will be as an approval. Okay, seeing none, that goes as an approval. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for being here
Thank
tonight.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks. Okay, next on the list, do I have a representative for item 2D? This is the ESM Group Bread and Wine, 1415 Lexington. Yes.
Hi, good evening. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Michael James. I'm an attorney for ESM Group 1415 LLC. That's located at 1415. I'm sorry, Nat's bothering me. 1415 Lexington Avenue. We've been in operation for quite some time. This is a class change application that appeared before you back in March, we received that approval. The reason why we're coming back is because on the application we had left out, this was office error, we had left out that live music was a part of the method of operation. And so we came back to just correct that and make sure that we re-notified the board of it. And so we are appearing before you today just with that addition.
Okay, so a couple of things. One, I'm gonna ask you to elaborate on that in terms of like the type of music, the hours, any kind of soundproofing in the establishment. Can you speak to that?
So there's no soundproofing in the establishment, and the type of music is just it's a live acoustic band. It may be a guitarist or a saxist, the saxophonist that's playing, and so it's not loud. It's actually been quite welcomed, and it is outside as well on some occasions. It does stop at the latest. It's going to 9 p.m. And it will not be, and we hope to continue not be an issue. There's been no 311 complaints, no community complaints that we're aware of. And yes, I think that's answers the question, I believe.
Okay, thank you. And just to clarify, I know you were before us, but just confirming the venue is ADA compliant, and you mentioned there have been no complaints since that time, right?
Correct.
Okay. And what's you mentioned it's outdoors. Could you describe the outdoor space?
The outdoor is actually on the sidewalk, because there's outdoor seating. We still have seating from the sidewalk extension, and so it is on the sidewalk, but it's not blocking traffic. There's a lane so that traffic can move freely. And it's only one person that will play in the band, or two max that plays in that band.
Okay, Okay, great. So first I will go to members of the public on this item. I see Kathleen has her hand up.
Once again, I'm around the corner from the neighborhood. Is this the place in mid-block on the west side of the street?
I believe so, yes.
Does it also have the shack outside left over from the infection, whatever?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I find I avoid that side of the block because it is very crowded. Everything is very close. It is difficult to walk by. And I'm not a fan of outdoor music, although thank goodness I don't live anywhere near there. It's crowded. There are people all over, waitresses all over, tables all over, dogs. I am not, it's not one of the neighborhood places that I am happy to be around. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. Okay, seeing no other members of the public, I'll go to Marco, Cause, and Mrs. Brown.
Thank you. And I would like to put a motion. The motion is to approve as presented, and then I would like to speak. If anybody can second.
You have a second from Barbara and.
Okay, so the question, the issue right here is, I just heard the neighbor that said it's very crowded. Are you aware of all of that? This is for the attorney.
No, I'm not aware that at least when I'm there, it's not crowded, but.
You don't have no complaints for the 311, do you?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay. I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm gonna pause again as I see another public hand, I assume. So I'm gonna go to Zach.
Hi, thank you. This is my first time at one of these, so I just want to say hi and thanks to everybody. I think this is really great. I just wanted to clarify with Kathleen and Michael. I think this is on the east side of Lexington Avenue. It's on the same side as West Side Market. I don't know if that's the same street that you're talking about.
That is that side, yes.
Yeah, and I know what you mean. That block can get a little crowded, particularly if there's like deliveries happening with West Side Market. But my mother drives a scooter. Doesn't go out as much, but so I'm sympathetic to those issues. And I'll just say from my perspective, I've seen it both ways. I've seen it a little bit crowded on the block, but I've also seen it be, where there's space to walk through. And for me, I haven't had the musicians be an issue, but I don't drive a scooter or anything like that. But I'll just say for me, it hasn't been an issue.
Thank you very much, Zach, and welcome. Okay, Cause.
Yeah, again, this is on the east side, not the west side. What kind of outdoor space or what kind of outdoor seating is there? Is there any structure or is it just tables and chairs?
So it's the same structure. And thank you for the correction. I did check after I agreed on the west side. I wasn't sure, but it is on the east side. But yes, there is a structure from COVID. The
roadway structure.
Roadway seating. I'm forgetting the technical name right now, but it is the roadway seating. That is the structure that is being utilized for outdoor seating.
But I thought you said there's seating on the sidewalk.
No, the band plays on the sidewalk.
So there's no seating on the sidewalk?
No.
Is this the same owner? Is there only one owner or more owners?
It's the same ownership. It's the same application. There's nothing. The only thing we're before you to do today is just add the live music. There's no other change whatsoever.
And Abraham, what is the stipulation on live music in a restaurant?
What is the stipulation?
Yeah, is that a legality or is there any city agency that needs to be notified or permission, or I'm not sure on?
No, that is not something we've had in our applications that it's a requirement. So it only if there was any kind of dancing or anything. Otherwise, the live music is not something that would require an additional approval based on our experience.
Okay. Anyway, based on this applicant and my prior knowledge of the applicant, I'm going to vote no. And also, as a matter of interest, as a matter of point of information, I clarified with the Conflict of Interest Board, and they advised me that there is no conflict of interest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cos. Kathleen, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, they do have serving tables next to the actual restaurant. They do have tables that extend in the sidewalk. And they have, it's, as the one gentleman, I guess it's on the east side, so much for my directions here, but it is it looks like it's difficult to get through there because of all of the, as I said, servings, the square tables that have food on them, people back and forth. It can be very busy and very crowded and difficult to get through. So yes, there are things on the sidewalk.
Thank you, Kathleen. Mrs. Brown and then Barbara.
Thank you. I want to be clear. Did Marco make a motion to approve? And was there a second?
Yes and yes.
Okay. Well, I like to call the question with a comment.
Okay.
I usually walk that block. I'm familiar with that restaurant. And as Zach had stated, there are times when it's very busy and there are times when it's not. And I use a walker. So when I'm walking that particular area, it's majority of the time, it's not congested, nor is there any impediment. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to revisit one thing, because you did mention the live music no later than 9 p.m. Marco, if you would entertain, would you welcome a friendly amendment to add a stipulation to make sure that the live music does not go beyond 9 p.m.? Would that be okay for you, Michael?
Yes, if we can, I can just confirm on my end with my client if he's willing to stipulate to it, because then we would have to come back if he wanted to extend it. And so I just want to make sure he's okay with that. But yes, for right now, we can go ahead with that.
Okay, great. And Marco, you were okay with that? Okay, great. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, then on that, does anyone want to call the question?
I just did.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Brown. Apologies, you did. Okay, does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay, seeing none, then this will go as a motion to approve with the stipulation as discussed. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, let me know. Cause, I know you're voting no.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, seeing none, then we'll go, this will be a motion, it'll be approval of 10-1. So thank you very much on that, and do let us know if there's any desire to modify that stipulation, but otherwise that's the basis on which the approval is going to be conditioned.
Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next item. Do I have the representative for 2E, that's Upper East Side 85 Inc., Vanessa's Dumpling House?
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
So my name is Sherry, and I'm the representative of UES 85 INC, Vanina's Dumpling House at 1623 2nd Avenue. So our application is only for corporate change. So previously there's 3 officers in this company. So right now we are going to remove one of them. So only left 2 inside. Everything the same, just remove one officer.
Okay, so no other changes to the method of operation, just a corporate change to remove 1 officer.
Yes, right, yeah.
Okay. Great. Then members of the public on this application? Andrew Fine.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait, one moment.
Hi. I obviously approve of this because it's a no-brainer, but I also endorse Vanessa's dumplings as being delicious and very
Okay.
cost-effective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Okay, Bill?
I can make a motion to approve.
You have several seconds. Okay, Marco? Nope, you're good. Barbara, do you want to call the question?
For the
Yep.
question.
Okay.
You got to me first.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, great. Anyone opposed calling the question? Okay, I'm seeing none. In that case, this will go as a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please let me know.
Okay.
Okay, seeing none, this will go as an approval. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
appearing
Good
tonight. Thank
evening.
you. Bye-bye. Okay, penultimate item. Do I have the representative for 3A? This is Fumo. This is a waiver for the liquor, wine, beer application. Waiver of the 30-day notice requirement. Mr. Kelly,
Good evening.
how are you?
All right, this is, we were previously approved by the committee on February 7th, 2023, due to a paperwork error. We had to re-notify you. I'll go through the application again.
Okay.
And on-premise liquor license application for 1626 Second Avenue Restaurant LLC, DBA Fumo, located at 1626 Second Avenue between 84th and 85th, in the premise formerly occupied by Who's Jack W. They had an on-premise liquor license. There's been one there for 8 years. We're a full-service Italian restaurant with specialty pizza. We are currently open and operating. They have 3 other locations, 1600 Amsterdam, 1596 Amsterdam, and 2791 Broadway. The owners also operate the Chicken, 2 in the city, and numerous other restaurants on Long Island, all licensed with no problems. We kept the present layout, 16 tables, 50 seats, and a 16-seat bar on the first floor. The hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday to Thursday, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. We do have an ADA compliant bathroom. There's always been one there. There'll be background music. We will have sidewalk open restaurant seating only on the sidewalk. There's nothing in the street. There's a turning lane there. And there's basically no other changes from our previous application.
Great, thank you, Mr. Kelly. Do we have any members of the public on this item? Seeing none, then Barbara and then Mrs. Brown.
I was going to approve the application
Okay.
with a comment. Just, I thought I knew where it was. You're between, are you on the west or east side of the street?
East side. East side.
And it's Sumo? What type of restaurant is it?
Fumo.
Italian pizza.
Oh, okay.
It was Who's Jack W right before us.
Yeah.
They were around for a couple of years.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Mrs. Brown?
Thank you. Call the question, please.
Great. Does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay, seeing none, this would be a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, let me know. No, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, motion is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we go ahead, Mike, Mr. Kelly.
No, I'm saying good night.
Oh, thanks. Good night. Okay, so before we move to our last application, which is a different category, just wanted to circle back and wrap up on the street life liquor licenses. Just wanted to remind on the question of laying over, just as a reminder, if the applicant doesn't agree to withdraw, once they said that they're going to file and given us notification, the clock starts running on us to make a motion. If we choose not to, they can still go ahead and file without us presenting a resolution, which is why we need them to withdraw, or it's better for them to withdraw it. So just to clarify that, which is why that was an important point. Okay, moving on to our first application under the New York State Office of Cannabis Management. This is the Herbal Care THC LLC. 1412 Lexington Avenue. And it's a new application for cannabis retail dispensary under the CARD program, CAURD. So I'd like to invite the applicant and the representative to come off mute, state their name, introduce themselves, tell us about the application and the as much background as possible, so that we can welcome you to the neighborhood and we can discuss the application.
Yes, hi everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So my name is Markel Bababekov. I'm here with my partner and my brother Abbas Bababekov, and with my counsel John Lattis with Lattis Baldwin Law. So as you mentioned, we are applying for a recreational retail location on 1410, 1412 Lexington Avenue. And this will be a cannabis store. We are fully ADA compliant. We have an ADA compliant bathroom, no steps on the entry or exit way. We have ADA compliant registers, ADA compliant self-serving kiosks, self-ordering kiosks rather. We have high-level security. Because we are a new business, we do not have any complaints with 311. We're going to have full-time security on staff through a third-party contractor. We will not allow, obviously, anybody under the age of 21. We will have signs all over the place talking about that fact, as well as we will not be doing any consumption on site. We also do intend to do deliveries eventually, but not right when we open. And when we decide to do the deliveries, we will come to the board again and talk about that fact. But right when we open, we do not plan on doing any deliveries. As far as noise level, we're just going to be playing low radio music in the store. It's not going to be on a high volume at all. Our hours of operation will be Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I think that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Just could you elaborate a little bit more on the security aspect of it? You said you'd be using
Yes, so
a provider, yeah.
Yes, so we will have 2 security guards, one on the entrance, one on the exit. We're going to be hiring them through a third-party company. Obviously, we will be also having security up to regulations, OCM regulations, which is cameras, door locks, double locks, backup cameras, just everything to do with that. Due to security measures, I don't want to go too much into what kind of security we're going to have in the store, but we definitely have very high level security throughout the whole entire store.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will first go to members of the public. I see 2 hands. I see Zach Harris. Can I go to you first?
Great. I just want to welcome the applicants to the neighborhood and say that, for a while we've had one of the, I don't know if you call them gray market or black market shops on the north side of 93rd Street. Those have a lot of issues with them. And so I'm in favor of having a regulated shop in the neighborhood. So I would just like to share my support for the business.
Okay, thank you very much.
We thank you too.
Kathleen?
Question with my directions. Which side of the street are you on and which?
We're on the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was trying, I read the address before and I was trying to guess which, where you replace. So you tell me, please.
We're on the west side of Lexington, between 92nd and 93rd, closer to 93rd.
And replacing which place? I know everything is for rent there.
I don't know what was there previously. I know we're on the ground floor of a building that has 15 units above us, residential units. I don't know what was there previously.
It
All
looks like it was a Carnegie Hill salon, and you're actually across the street from the bread and wine applicant that we heard not too long ago.
Okay.
Yes.
And as the other gentleman mentioned, there are two actually illegal cannabis on that same side of the street that have been there for a long time. One is pretty large, the other is small, and I keep wondering why they're there, but I'm glad that a legal person is coming in who does all the regulations. I've not been in the other places, but anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, next I'm going to Andrew. Andrew Fine.
Thank you. I'm just wondering if there's any substance discount for members of the 92nd Street Y, or maybe a steeper discount for preschool parents that are at the 92nd Street Y. Thank you.
May I speak to that? So yeah, we do know that the 92nd Street Y is over there. We know they have a camp as well as some after school programs. We will not have any logos pertaining to marijuana or anything else on our banister. All of our windows are going to be completely covered. We're not going to have any odor coming out of the store at all. And like I said, you know, we will be having security there to make sure that no underage kids or anyone come into the store. We definitely understand that, you know, there's young kids everywhere. There's parents that don't want their kids being around this. There are, like it was mentioned before, there's illicit shops, there's bodegas, there's smoke shops that are selling this product without regulation. The best thing for the community, I think, would be a shop like mine coming into the community that's going to be highly regulated and making sure that we try to put these people, you know, out of business so they don't contaminate the community.
Great, thank you. I mean, I think it's definitely preferable to have a licensed legal operation within a block or so of a nursery school than an illicit weed shop. So I thank you, and I approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, seeing no other members of the public, I will go to my committee members. I'm going to go in reverse order to go with individuals who have not spoken yet. So I have Lindsay first, and then Russell.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to confirm, I'm looking at the renderings that you've put in the application, and I see that at the front, there are like 3 floor to ceiling windows. And I think what you just said is that none of this is going to be visible from the street. I'm asking as a parent of an 11-year-old that there's not going to be products that children or anyone else was going to be able to see from the street. Is that correct?
Absolutely not. Everything will be covered from floor to ceiling.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go to Russell.
And I know somebody asked about discounts. Can I just touch
Sure.
on that really quick? OCM currently does not allow any card applicants, any card retail stores to give any discounts of any nature. So just wanted to elaborate on that real quick.
Thank you, much appreciated. Russell.
I'm going to make a motion. If it's seconded, speak to it briefly, and the motion is to approve.
I see a second.
So I just, you know, I think the presentation was very thorough. I think the materials that we've been given are very thorough. I appreciate the appropriate signage. And I think it's good that we'll finally have an actually legal licensed cannabis facility in the district. So I wish you the best of luck, and I hope everybody supports this application.
Thank you, Russell.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next I'll go Bill.
Just have a question. You say security. Is your security went to the 19th precinct in the event of the break-in?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you clearly.
I said, if your security system is linked or tied to the 19th precinct.
Okay, Bill, we're having a hard time hearing you, but I think what you're asking is whether or not the security is tied to the 19th precinct. Is that correct, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe OCM stand guidelines state that it has to be, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Marco, Barbara, then Mrs. Brown.
Thank you, Abraham. A couple of weeks, probably 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, they're trying to open a new cannabis legally, obviously, because that is legal now, on the 125th Street. People from the community, they came and they said, quote, "This is an outrageous to put in the inside of the communities. That is wrong. If it's in 120 feet wrong, it is wrong also on the Upper East Side." I think my opinion is this kind of business, it is legal, but it should be zoning to be an M1 and M2, M3. So if those people that want to buy, they can go and buy in those places, but not in our residential places. Well, I'm vehemently oppose this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Barbara?
Respectfully, I don't agree. I wholeheartedly welcome you here. I know that Abraham's had several meetings where we discussed it and came through. I have, and one reason I am is that we are overwhelmed with illegal shops, that we've had meetings to prove that not only do they sell to children and woo children there, but the products are unsafe. And I don't think that any of our children are protected from it, and will be much more so now. I have a couple of comments. First of all, can you tell us a little about yourself? Are you part of a nonprofit or an individual? How did you get a card?
Yes. So myself, I'm a justice involved applicant. Since the age of 18, I've been operating my own businesses from a handbag company that my brother and I own together. Now my brother and I own dry cleaners on the Upper East Side on 68th Street between 2nd and 3rd. I own another dry cleaners in Los Angeles. I own a construction company, licensed, bonded, and insured. So I'm very familiar with retail business for the last 12 years. I'm very familiar with how to, yes, I'm very familiar with how to run and operate a business. And, but yes, so I am a justice involved applicant.
Okay, great, thank you. And I hear that the signage, I'm sorry, I didn't read the materials, but your signage is appropriate as opposed to all the illegal shops and everything like that? Great.
Yes.
What are we going to do to get rid of not one on 93rd Street or two? 86th Street has a horrible one. Every single street you go by, how are we going to get rid of it? And I worry that your business won't do as well if somebody could get something cheaper at an illegal shop. So I think that we really do have to work on making sure that our electeds will help us that shut down all the illegal shops that are there.
Yes.
And the discussion of actually fining the landlords is something I would be supportive of, and maybe the community board will do more with it. We welcome you. Good luck. I happen not to be a pot smoker, but glad that what you're selling is safe and we'll have a safe
Definitely.
community.
Yes, everything is lab tested, everything is prepackaged, everything comes from the state of New York only, everything is childproof. Everybody leaving our store, everything will be inside a bag, nothing will be exposed. Nobody's allowed to just leave with a product in his hand. Nobody's allowed to smoke on or next to the premises. And you know, there's this study that was done in California. The more legal retail shops there are, the less illegal shops that open next to it.
I hope
so.
Yeah. I did have one more question. I'm sorry, it's out of my head. I forgot that it's something. Oh, I know what it is. I'm sorry. Are you allowed to take credit cards or not?
So credit cards as of now, no. Debit cards, we are.
Oh, so it
So
isn't
we
all cash business then?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, that's great.
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
I know in
It
Denver.
used to be a cash business many,
Yes.
many years ago, but
Was
now
the-
there's there's a few things that we can do. There's a cashless ATM where you round it to the nearest figure and then give them change. There's a PIN debit and ACH transfer through many online portals.
Like Venmo, that type of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much. That's very good news.
Great,
Thank you,
Barbara.
Abraham, for all the work you did on this.
Thank you, Barbara.
Of course.
Okay, I do see there's another member of the public, so I'd like to go to them first and before I continue with our community members. So I have a Mario Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Marco and his team, we are currently with a letter of intent for security measures. But regarding the question that Russell had for the 19th precinct, that is not accurate, actually. You cannot, per OCM requirements, be tied into the police stations. They have to go to a third-party vendor for the alarming and monitoring. What we will allow them to do is then work with the 19th precinct to bring in the chiefs and the supervisors to come and see their site and their plans, be able to walk through, and then in that moment as well, work in coordination with them for their responses. In addition, for the all cash components that were concerned, there are now new innovation and technologies, including smart safes that are available that they're referencing and looking at as far as a vendor and maintaining that on site. And what that allows is all the cash that goes into the specific property. It is timed, it's counted, and it's audited, and it's not available for any components other than the two owners of the property. So all these mechanisms are put in place as what we in the security industry call a layered approach, and it makes it more resistant to burglary or alarms or any kind of theft and vandalism. It meets the OCM requirements. And then their security plan is another OCM requirement that will have all the stipulations for them laid out that will meet not only their regulations for signage and components, but to Lindsay's concern also with the frontage and looking at where that goes and what the youths in the area will see. Their design and layout already has the stipulations and putting in place so that they're going to actually deter and prevent from a safety mechanism first. And then in that approach, it also does not allow for those individuals to see into the property. It's the aesthetics that from the outside looking in looks like it's a almost like a retail shop that has waterfalls and some other aspects inside. And from there, those design and aesthetics change the figures and what that approach is, and again, prevent and deter crime.
Thank you very much, Mario. We appreciate that context, very helpful. And then that actually preempted one of my friendly amendments, which was going to be a stipulation to the covered elements. But as you said, it's going to, if that's covered already via OCM, that's also good to know. So thank you. Okay, Mrs. Brown.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to say welcome to the neighborhood. I support your application because you are a legal shop. I want to call the question, but I have some comments and questions, Chair.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you. Are you not across the street or a block away from the synagogue? That's the first question. The other question is, what do you do for cancer patients? Do you provide medical billing to Medicare for prescriptions? That's the other one. And how many years of experience, Marco, do you have in the cannabis industry?
Okay, so as far as the cannabis industry, I lived in New York my whole life. At the age of 21, I ended up moving out to California. I lived in San Francisco, San Diego, and Los Angeles. While living here, I was working for a company that was extracting the THC components out of the flower. And I was working with them for a very, very long time. They were called Extraction Artists. I know the cannabis industry very, very well. I've been trying to get a license for so many years, just was never able to in any capacity up until New York came out with these regulations. What were the other two questions? I'm sorry.
Synagogue?
The synagogue.
Oh, synagogue. Yes. No, from what we understand, there are no synagogues or churches or houses of worship or schools anywhere within the vicinity of our store. OCM did do that. They checked that when we submitted the location, and they did give us approval for this location, meaning that there are no synagogues or churches or houses of worship or schools or parks anywhere around us. I believe 2 blocks away there might be one, but not within the 400-foot rule, for 500-foot rule.
Okay. And my other question was, how are you going to care for cancer patients who have prescriptions? Are you doing Medicare billing?
So I don't know how to answer that yet, because again, I know OCM doesn't allow us to do discounts, but
that's not a discount.
John, maybe you can touch on that.
Yes, Ms. Brown, good afternoon. My name is John Lattis. I'm the attorney for THC Halbert Care. And just to give you a little bit of insight into your question, we are very interested in supporting all demographics, especially cancer patients. As a matter of fact, my mother is a cancer patient, so I understand the need for that. There are a little bit of a vague area from the OCM in what we're allowed to do legally, but what we can tell you for sure is that anything in our power to help, any kind of group like cancer patients will be done. So if OCM allows us to go through and do prescription pricing for Medicaid, we will do that. There's certain guidelines that are still, as this being a brand new venture, are still being worked on and evaluated and evolved constantly.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to you. I'm so glad we have a legal shop in the area. I'm not familiar with cannabis, but there are a lot of people that do take and enjoy. I wish you stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Marco, I'll let you conclude as we have the question called.
I was going to call the question.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, great. Oh, wonderful. Is anyone opposed calling the question? Okay, seeing none. So this is a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. I know Marco is a no.
1000%. That never exists, but that's in the way that should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Anyone else voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining? Okay, well then seeing none, this will go as a motion, as a resolution to approve, which will go to the full board meeting on the 19th. As it is our first application under the cannabis program, I suspect there will be more conversation at the full board meeting, so we would encourage you to attend there. But from the recommendation from this committee, it is a 10-1 recommendation to approve. So thank you very much, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thank you, everyone. And I do believe we will be there. I would also like to say that I know I will speak for my client, but also for myself. We're dedicated to serving, the needs of the community and the needs of the neighborhood. So even before the big meeting, if anybody has questions or concerns, you can feel free to reach out to me directly or to Mr. Babak. We are always open for questions and discussion.
Thank you. We really appreciate that.
And just one more thing I just wanted to add. I did send community board 8-hour business plan with our business continuity plan. It is our full intention to give back to the community that we're going to be in, which is this community. There's so many things we want to do to the community as far as giving back, not just charity, not just cleaning up, not building new parks, better places for kids to hang out, but we are fully 100% ready to give back to the community that we're going to be in.
Great. Thank you very much. Look forward to partnering with you and having you here.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks. Good evening. Okay. Is there any new or old business? If not, then I would welcome a motion to adjourn if anyone wishes to make one. Mrs. Brown.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I have any Yes, I see several seconds. Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Have a good evening, and we will see you next month.